Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Arsenal host Manchester City this weekend in the Premier League. And I need to be blunt, I need to be brutal. It is boring to preview the game. How are Arsenal going to beat City? They're not. There's no point doing a combined 11 like most other YouTube channels are going to do, because it's going to just be the City starting lineup. It's as simple as that. Fact, if I could only put 5 City players in it, it'd just be 5 City players out there playing. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today, and it's going to be a Premier League all-time combined 11. Arsenal, we're going to go back in time to when you were a great team, a colossal team. We're going to be mixing these teams up, and what a lineup we have tonight for you. We've got Jan. You'll know Jan. Lovely, articulate, beautiful City fan, actually from Manchester, here with us again. We've got Kesh. Kesh is here. He's ready to go. We've got man like Adam Charles with the Wi-Fi today. He had to go back to Mumsy's because his new house that he got for himself. Congratulations, no good Wi-Fi yet. He's here. We've got man like Gal, who looks ready to fight. He looks ready to fight. He's put his hat backwards. Do you know what I mean? Like he's an extra in a Backstreet Boys music video. He's ready to go. And making his debut today, Big Steve is here. You've seen Big Steve on the Big Six show on Turkish's channel. Amazing bits of content. As well as everyone else, he'll be able to introduce himself in a few moments. So make sure you smash that like button right about now, people. Here is the panel, the ball, and everybody else today. Afternoon, everyone. How are we all?
Good.
Oh, I forgot to mention my co-host today is Anita. My co-host is Anita.
No, it's okay. No, it's fine. I mentally noted that one so I could get you back during the stream. It's fine.
Okay, cool. That's my bad. Anita's here as well, everyone. Anita's my co-host today. We're doing this together like this. The king and the queen are here. That's what we're doing. It's as simple as that. Gooners, are you actually feeling excited about this?
Yeah, I'd be excited even if we weren't doing an all-time 11. Even if we were doing a normal one on form, I'd probably still get a couple Arsenal players in there. So it's all good. Don't worry about it, man.
Jeez. And Steve, listen, mate, really massive pleasure for me to have you on the Football Terrace, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's always a good bit of fun here. The comments are always absolute madness. We've seen lots of shout outs for you already. A lot of City fans know you are out here. One of my members here says, "Yo, Big Steve." Is it always Big Steve? Does everyone call you Big Steve?
It's just Joel, that cheeky sport. How I met Joel coming out of Wembley once. He just said, "What's your name?" I went, "Steve." He went, "Big Steve." I went, "Oh, that'll do." So that's it. It's just stuck.
There we go. I thought it was a nickname the ladies might have given you, but there we go, brother.
I wish.
Don't we all, brother? Don't we all? We're going to show the audience now there we go. So everybody threw in their own combined 11 today. Everyone's put in their options, who they want, who they like, etc., etc., etc. So they're all there available. You can see we're going to pick a goalie, of course, 2 fullbacks, 2 centre-backs, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards, and we will be crowning the GOAT. We will be crowning the GOAT today as well. I'm not involved in the debate today as such. I'll be throwing in curveballs, but I want stats, I want figures, I want facts. I do want feelings and emotions, but we need the whole caboodle today. We really, really do. But this is going to be exciting. This is going to be fun. Make sure you're smashing like buttons, hitting the share buttons as well. Get your super chats in, because once this is picked as well, you can make changes. City fans, back your club. Arsenal fans, back your club. Rivals, assemble. We're going to delve straight into this straight away. We're going to start with the goalkeeper element. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, goalkeepers. I'm going to go to Big Steve here, because Big Steve, he's making his debut today. Who do you think deserves to be the goalkeeper?
Well, obviously, when I was growing up, David Seaman was a great keeper for Arsenal. He wasn't so good when he came to City. I think that ponytail definitely let him down. But obviously, Ederson took goalkeeping to a new level. He's knocking 100 yards assists. He's getting pissed up in his swimming pool when we won the league, doing backflips. The guy's taking goalkeeping to the next level. So, obviously, I like Seaman. He was an England regular as well. Obviously, the Euros, penalty saves and all that. So, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Seaman. But Ederson's my man. You know, he's just a modern-day keeper. He got caught throwing a bottle of milk at Mourinho at Old Trafford. You know, he's winning Premier Leagues. I can't look further than Edison for the keeper, me. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Anybody going Seaman? Anybody going David Seaman?
I am. Surely it has to be Seaman
in my team.
Sorry?
No, I was going to say I did have Seaman in my team just because of, you know, how good he was for Arsenal. Not so much for City, like he said, but because he played for both of us as well, I did have Seaman in there. But we can't really argue against Edison right now. Like, he is killing it right now. But I think overall I would have said Seaman.
It's a simple case for Seaman, Terry. The man did it for a decade. The man did it for a decade. From 1991, when he won his first league title, to 2001, when he won his last league title, he was at the top of the game for Arsenal. So a goalkeeper done it for 10 years in comparison to a guy who's won 2 league titles, about to win his 3rd maybe, in Ederson. I'm assuming that's correct. And look at this. He's only been there for, what, 3 years? You can't really compare a guy who's been there for 10 years, captained the team, done everything for Arsenal, won 3 league titles, don't forget. Come on. I think it's a no-brainer. David Seaman for me.
What are you saying, Kesh?
Oh, he's got a longer sample of his career. Like, he's been, 10 years? He's got 130 clean sheets from what I remember. He's also was voted for the team of the decade not long ago. So, like, in terms of titles and everything, yes, Edison might be the better goalkeeper of this generation because, yes, we like our keepers to play with their feet and things like that. But you can't rule Seaman out for this overall team, shall I say?
Yeah, I hear you. Neats. And sorry, I'll go to Adam first of all, and then we're going to go to Neats. So, Adam, what are you saying about this? David Seaman, would you put him in, or would you have a different option?
I had a different option. I had Jens Lehmann, you know. Crazy Jens Lehmann, because I think he was really solid at Arsenal. And I don't recall him having a mad fall-off. Certainly not in the Premier League anyway. And I guess David Seaman did, because as Yannicka said, and Big Steve said as well, when David Seaman was at Manchester City, he wasn't that great. So yeah, for me, I would chuck what's his name? What did I just say? Yeah, I'll chuck Jens Lehmann in, but I mean, I'm not mad at David Seaman either, so it's down to the panel.
I mean, David Seaman's currently got 3 votes to 1 of Edison when we've gone through everybody else so far. 4 if we throw in Adams. Neats, would you agree with Seaman?
I mean, I don't want to be shameless, but the one Champions League winner, you know, that could have been there per check. I mean, but hey, see, I don't want to be shameless in it. I'm a neutral, but obviously, I really like Edison for obviously the new generation and stuff. Like, he's really revolutionizing goalkeeping. But then I feel like Neuer did it first, you know. At the same time, like we're talking about him revolutionizing goalkeeping, etc., etc. But at the same time, like I said, Neuer did it first. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to go with David Seaman. Like he's done it for a longer time. Like Igal said, I don't think there's much of an argument against him. So I'm going to put Seaman there. I haven't watched him play. Don't get me wrong. I was too young. It's not really my time. But at the same time, I'm going to put Seaman.
Fair enough. I'm not going to argue with that. There's no point putting a casting vote because Seaman has won it outright. Ladies and gentlemen, David Seaman is the goalkeeper in the all-time combined 11. Now we're going to move on and we're going to focus now on the fullback area. And we're going to start with, for me, the easiest position of the two, which is left back. And I'm going to go to Igal first on this. Who should be the left back in the combined 11, Igal?
It has to be Ashley Cole. There's no argument for me. It's just Ashley Cole. I don't think there's anybody at City who even gets close to that. And for Arsenal's sake, there's no one else either. So I'm going to put Ashley Cole in.
Steve, what about yourself? Would you agree?
Yeah, I chose Ashley Cole. Fantastic left back, great player. City's left backs over the years tend to be Arsenal rejects anyway, in Gael Clichy and that. So, yeah, Ashley Cole, he's the man. Get him in there, left back.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah. Go on.
So, Steve and Yannicka, if there was one Manchester City left back that you'd put in the conversation to even rival Ashley Cole, who would it be? Not that they'd get in, but who would you like compare him to?
Do you know what? Left back's been a bit of a sticky area for
It's a nightmare for us.
Like, even with our success. We've been playing like Delph there, Zinchenko
Yeah,
there. They're not even left backs. So
Kolarov wasn't too
Only
bad
Kolarov,
for you.
no?
He wasn't so bad.
Yeah, Kolarov was
When he
all
first
right.
came.
But
Yeah.
Gail Clichy's probably was the steadiest left back we had at the time under Mancini and that winning the league. He was solid that season. Before that, mate, I can tell you some right horrible left backs that you don't even want to talk about.
Like, I honestly feel like the best left back City have had since they've been a top team over the last 10, 12 years. It's when Cancelo plays there now.
yeah.
Like he's legitimately the best I've seen you have. Nothing. You've not really bought someone who's been a shining light, if that makes sense. Considering nearly every other position that as we go through this later, City have got so many standout examples. The left back area has always been that. So it's currently, as it stands, 2-0 to Arsenal in this. Although Ashley Cole is a bigger Chelsea legend than he is Arsenal.
Whoa.
The show didn't say legends, Terry.
I know.
Yeah, all right.
Arsenal to get a point in this, are having to go to someone they hate just to get points. But listen, we all do that sometimes. Right back though, I want to go to Jan on this one first. Who would you pick as the right back?
See, right back is the one that I struggled with because I wanted to go for obviously, and it's hard because for us we've got Zabaleta, who was great. But I don't think he was better than others, maybe that Arsenal had, especially like in their invincible season. I know Loren, or however you say it, he was their left back then. But you know what? I'm going to back City on this. So I'm going to say Zabaleta just because, even though Cancelo, I think if we were doing this in 10 years' time, probably be Cancelo. But right now, I'm gonna back City on this one. I did think originally maybe Sagna because he was good for Arsenal and he was decent for City, but I don't know. I'm gonna back City and just say Zabaleta.
How about yourself, Kesh?
I was actually stuck between Lauren and Zabaleta, but then when I thought about it deep enough, I thought Lee Dixon played almost 400 games for Arsenal, won the First Division twice, won the Premier League twice, got FA Cup and everything. So I think over a longer period of time, he was probably the most consistent out of the lot that you can pick from. So I'd have to go for Lee Dixon.
Anyone got a different view other than Zabaleta or Lee Dixon?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought Loren had a shout. To be honest, as much as you guys want to put Kyle Walker, Cancelo, Zabaleta, all those guys, Loren played 7 years for Arsenal, won 2 Premier Leagues. He was top of the game, and you know what? That whole side, everyone knew that was his side. You see him up and down that pitch doing his damage every game. You didn't have to worry about right back position when we had Loren. If I was gonna pick one out of all of them, it would be between Loren or Dixon.
Do you know what's interesting? What I loved about Loren is how he used to like shave his head like he had cane rolls, but he didn't have cane rolls. I never saw anybody else, like, considering where I lived and grew up as well, like very multicultural. I never saw one other person have that haircut before, during, or since. Man had his own style as well. Adam says, what is currently 1 vote for Sagna, 1 vote for Dixon, 1 vote for Lauren, 1 vote for Zabaleta. Who would you go with, Adam?
Well, I considered Lauren, I considered Zabaleta, and I considered Sagna. But I said, as a matter of principle, I'm not putting any ops in my team. I'm not putting anyone that's gone on to play for Manchester City in my team at all. So that really only whittled it down to Zabaleta and Lauren. And for me, and Lee Dixon. Lee Dixon was before my time. I don't recall seeing him play too tough, so I couldn't realistically put him in, although I get statistically he should be there. But in terms of what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, I have to put Zabaleta there, man, because I remember a time where it was just him and Ivanovic going like ham as the best 2 right backs in the league. And that was for a good 3-4 seasons. And I like the fact that even though he looked like an old school fullback, he still got up and got a couple of assists, contributed to Mancini's attacking style of play as well. So for me, I would put Zabaleta in there over Lauren because I feel like that was missing a little bit from Lauren's overall play. So for me, I'd put Zabaleta.
You look like you agree with that, Neats.
Yeah, I am. But do you know what? It's so funny. I'm just not hearing, like Bellerin. I'm not hearing Walker. I'm just like, rah, these lot aren't good enough, swear. But anyway, yeah, I put Zabaleta there because he went toe to toe with Ivanovic. Let's keep it real. When Ivanovic was at his prime, Zabaleta was just right there behind him. But obviously, Hazard kind of ended his career. Sorry, Steve and Yannicka, to bring back some memories. And listen, I'm just here for bannering it. I'm always going to banner you guys. But for me, 100% Zabaleta. And I think there's a little bit of not recency bias, but what's the opposite of recency bias? What's that?
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, that's it when it comes to Loren. But hey, who am I to say? So I'm just going to choose Zabaleta and let's get it over and done with before we argue.
The casting vote there with Neats as the co-host. Zabaleta is in. I'm going to find his picture. There he is running around. There he is. We're going to get him up on the screen now. As you can see, there's a fullbacks pick. So far, Seaman, Zabaleta, Ashley Carr. I mean, it's already shaping up to be a colossal team. And I actually think it's going to make Arsenal fans more angry watching this, like what we used to have. Do you know what I mean? Like City, it's very recent. It is recency when it comes to Man City. But we're going to move next to centre-backs. Now, this is such an amazing debate because Arsenal of old had, in my opinion, two of the greatest centre-backs in Premier League and British, not just British football, European football history. City in recent years have had some amazing individuals as well. The one person that isn't here, in case any young City fans are watching, there is no Ruben Diaz. Not enough. Everyone goes, what about Ruben Diaz? No, not yet. But if he keeps playing like he is, who knows? In 2 or 3 years, we could have that conversation. But I want to go to Big Steve on this first. Who would be your centre-back pairing, bro?
Obviously, I grew up watching Tony Adams as well. So Tony Adams, to me, was proper old school. You know, the guy was doing it pissed up week in, week out. So you've got to give the guy some credit, you know what I mean? To be a legend when you're on the ale, fair play to him. And it's got to be Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany, what he did for Manchester City, on and off the pitch as a leader. He dragged us to the titles with it when we needed to beat United and the derby at the Etihad. We won 1-0, Kompany header. And then when we're chasing Liverpool down and it looks like we need to win 18 straight games, whatever it was, and Kompany pops up and smashes one from nearly 40 yards in the top corner against Leicester, wins the league, then announces his retirement and all that. It was just everything about Vincent Kompany for me. As a City fan, I think you won't ever find a City fan will slag Vincent. So I'm giving Tony Adams one side and Vincent Kompany on the other side.
I hear you on that. Neeks, what would you go? Who would you go with?
Oh, I'm definitely going them two. Listen, when you talk about centre backs, I always use the word authority. When you have a centre back, you've got to have authority, right? Tony Adams and Kompany, the authority that them two command is crazy. I wouldn't have gone with anyone else, honestly. Tony Adams, captain of Arsenal, captain of England. Kompany, captain of Belgium, captain of Man City. Like, there's absolutely no other choice apart from them two. And I'll be interested in seeing what everyone else thinks, because I think people are mentioning Campbell in the comments. So I just want to see if anyone else is along those lines. If anyone else is along those lines, they need to defend it very seriously, because he has a good shout, but...
Yeah, I hear that. Who's picked Sol Campbell?
I actually put him in with Kompany, but Adams is fine. It was one of the two, and I just picked him. But yeah, any of them doesn't bother me. Because if Vincent Kompany wasn't there, we'd be saying both Arsenal.
Is there not a shout for both? Anyone think that it should be both Campbell and Tony Adams?
No. Ahead of Captain Vincent. President Vincent, no way.
So from your point of view, Adam, are you saying that Sol Campbell is better than Tony Adams, or Tony Adams is better than Sol Campbell?
Again, because I can only go off what I've seen and what I remember, it would be shameless of me to say Tony Adams ahead of Campbell. Do you know what I'm saying? I remember Sol Campbell playing football, which is why I've put him in the team. However, from what I know and from what I hear of people speaking about Tony Adams, the fact that this guy was on the piss every week and came in and dominated the back line, bro. But one thing I do want to remember, think about though, is like who complements Vincent Kompany better. What I was thinking about is because he's so complete, like who would amplify his game a little bit more? Tony Adams, Campbell. That's what I had trouble thinking about.
But what are your thoughts, Kesh?
sorry, go.
For me, you've got to go with two leaders, isn't it? Like when you think about your centre backs, you want them to be commanding, you want them to lead the team, and for me, them two with their voice at the back, you're not really getting through that defensive line. In terms of asking the question, who's better out of Adams and Campbell? I think they're both just as good, but Campbell was more on the edge of when you start to see centre backs actually trying to do more than just defending. So I'll give it to Campbell. He edges it for me, but I've got to go with my captain, and that's Adams and company.
I hear you on that. How you were going to say something there, Neats?
No, it's fine. Listen, I'm just saying, yeah, because Adam mentioned something about who complements company a bit better. I think when you've got two dominant players in that centre back position, yeah, they'll just be going head to head with each other, They're going to be amplifying each other. Who can do it better? Who can be the best? And like, when you're playing with the best, you want to do better regardless, innit? So I don't know. I think Tony Adams will still complement company.
Yeah.
You picking Tony Adams?
Yeah, it has to be Adams and company. You basically have Mr. Arsenal on one side, and you have Mr. City basically on the other side. When it comes to Campbell, I hear that, but are you gonna take? If you look at Campbell's career in the Premier League, and you look at Company's career in the Premier League, you put those two side to side. You put the two resumes side to side. Which one would you rather have? If you look at the two players and their skill sets and everything else, and you actually rewatch those games, you might pick Campbell, but at the same time, based on what Company's accomplished with Man City and being a part of the first team to accomplish that, you can't discredit that, and that's why I would put Company over Campbell.
There we go, Company and Tony Adams. I mean, just look at that. Honestly, that team wouldn't concede a goal. That team wouldn't concede a goal. It's what I love about that team is it's everything that you don't really see very often now in modern day football. It's so solid defensively, and what I love as well about Tony Adams and Vincent Kompany is as commanding as they were and as great leaders as they were, both would be happy to concede sort of authority to the other, and I think it would work well. It wouldn't be I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss. No, I think they were all about what I love about both those players. The team came first before themselves. They would sacrifice themselves. I mean, Vincent Kompany was a midfielder before he became a centre back. When he was put, I remember him as a younger player. It was always a DM kind of role, and he got moved into the centre back areas, and he was brilliant here. There wasn't this kind of diva attitude of I might get more recognition being a DM. It was no, I'm doing a great job here. The team needs me here, and he elevated himself in it. And Tony Adams was just, I probably isn't something we should celebrate, but being able to play football to such a high level when you're drunk is amazing. I struggle to make my kids cereal when I've had a drink. I literally struggle. I'm like, oh, kids, shut up, go away, why do I have you? Tony Adams was winning Premier Leagues, half cut, hungover, legend. And do you know what I always remember? Again, it's a horrible memory. But the goal that Tony Adams scored on the day that Arsenal clinched the Premier League title, where for some weird reason he was on the attack and he sort of it and volleyed it in. It set, as a young kid, it made me so angry because my best mates were all Arsenal fans growing up in East London. But there we go. Tony Adams has made that team. We're making a bit of a host switch here. I'm staying on the stream. I'm handing over now to the wonderful Football Terrace Queen in Anita to talk us through the midfield three. So Anita, over to you. Take it away. I'm going to sit back and just enjoy my wine now.
Do you know what's so mad? This is actually going to be my favorite debate. So I'm actually going to take it really slow and I'm going to go through everyone's opinion. You lot got to back it up because there's so many options for this midfield three. So we're going 4-3-3 at the moment. I need you to tell me who you're going to choose as your first pick in that midfield. I'm going to start with Yannicka. Who are you picking?
Well, I kind of did like a diamond to try and get everyone in. But I'll start with a City player. I can't see outside of David Silva. I think David Silva has to be in there. What he did for City, what he's done for Spain speaks for itself. And yeah, I would put David Silva in there. So yeah, that's my first pick.
Do you know what? I expected that to be your first pick. I know, Yannicka, I expected it to be your first pick, so I ain't too mad at it. I saw Adam's face, yeah, so I'm going to go to Adam next. Who are you choosing first?
Okay, cool. I have to chuck in Patrick Vieira. Have to. Again, Mr. Arsenal, the guy that everyone has been saying we've been missing since he left. The moment he left, everyone's saying there's a Vieira-shaped hole in Arsenal's midfield, and we've been trying to replace him ever since. So it has to be Patrick Vieira. But the reason I made a face is because David Silva is kind of put out to the wing for me. Because anyway, I'll let everyone else have their say. Sorry.
That's an interesting point. We might be able to squeeze him in, but let's see. Big Steve.
That's why I've done like a diamond to get everyone in.
I hear it.
This is why we did a 4-3-3. No cheating. Straight 4-3-3. Traditional 4-3-3. Let's get this cracking. Big Steve, who are you choosing?
Well, looking at that chat there, if I was pissed off, I'd probably put King Cladzy in, but I'm not. So I'm going to choose the one, the only Yaya Toure. I just think what Yaya Toure was all about for us. He dragged us to trophies. You know, he's just the next level. You know what I mean? All the important goals, the cup finals, semi-finals. Yaya Toure was pivotal in all of that. And he was just a colossus player. I know that we didn't get him a birthday cake and that, and he's seen his ass, but you know he's still a legend for City. And he'd be 100% in my team. Big Yaya, no problem.
Sorry, I was going to play the video, but it didn't quite work. The Yaya Toure song, by the way, is one of my favorite songs in the whole of football. The Yaya, I love it. And then it goes to his brother's name. It's great. Yeah, Yaya Toure. I love it. And I love, as a United fan, I loved him more for the birthday cake scenario because it was like, I love that. I love it. It was like, what a thing to be angry about. It just shows that footballers, with all the riches and the fame and the fortune, it's still like, I want to be treated well. I love that. I love it.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. That whole saga was the most hilarious thing that I've seen in such a long time in football. It was hilarious. It was crazy. I heard David Silva's getting a statue before Yaya Toure, which I find kind of mad. I don't know. Jan, you pulled a face. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I think what happened is when players have left, they've kind of given them like their own training ground. So like one of the training grounds is named after them. But I think when David Silva left, they were like, right, you know, he needs a statue. But there'll be an argument for company, obviously. Yaya as well. So I'm not too sure what they're going to do yet. They did say when David Silva came out and everyone said, what about company? They did say company would be getting one himself. So I don't know if they're going to do like a sort of trophy, a sort of statue with 3 different players. I'm not too sure, but you'd argue Aguero as well. There's quite a few players that could get one.
Over everyone, Yaya should have been first, but hey, that's something for me to say. Kesh, Igal, we're coming to you now. I want to know if these 3 are not part of your midfield 3. So we've got Yaya Toure, Patrick Vieira, and David Silva. Who are you taking out, or who are you keeping?
She can go first.
To be honest, all 3 of them get in mine.
All 3 of them. So no disputes there.
No dispute.
What about you, Igal?
There's honorable mentions that obviously we haven't mentioned, but of course he had a better career at Chelsea. Fabregas. There's an honorable mention in Fernandinho because he's had a great career. No. It's just honorable mentions.
Fabregas, bro.
Why are you turning stuff into a joke, man? Listen, realistically, we know you guys picked the best 3. It's going to be Yaya Toure. It's going to be David Silva on the other side, and you're going to have Vieira. You're going to have Vieira in the middle. That's how it's going to be.
Fair enough, Terry.
Why are we forgetting Fabregas? What happened?
Wait. We're going
I said he's an honorable mention.
He's got put in an honorable mention.
I've got a question for the City fans. I get that the Yayas, the Fernandinhos, the Silvas, the KDBs. They've been part of your greatest ever teams within the history of City. And we get that the money's come in, and I know a lot of fans are like bitter that you've got the money. I don't look at it that way. It's just life, right? Is there not a part of you that thinks back to sort of teams from the earlier 90s when you think, I know we're not talking about midfield strikers right now, but you think of Niall Quinn, you think of Stephen Ireland's, kind of players, Sean Wright-Phillips and stuff, that they not hold like a sentimental place in your heart because they were sort of there before you won, you got all the money. Does that make sense? Do you not have a different, like, the players that kind of kept you afloat when you didn't have, like Richard Dunn, right? In some respects, is he not just as big a legend as Vincent Kompany, but from a different time and era for City? Not that he should be in the all-time combined 11, but do you think, like, emotionally, do you feel the same about those players as you do a Vincent Kompany or a Yaya Toure?
Oh, yeah, and you're on mute, babe.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm muted now. Go on.
Yeah, some of my favourites, like I loved Alano. I thought Alano was a fantastic player. He was there before. Sean Wright-Phillips, I loved him. There's quite a lot that I, but when it's an all-time 11 with Arsenal and Arsenal being as great as they were and Man City being as good as they have been, it's hard to even get them anywhere near the team. But yeah, I loved Alano. He was one player that I thought it's kind of like people say about King Kladze. Some of these players, they were kind of they came at the wrong time. I think Robinho is another example of that. He came a bit too early, and the team around him weren't really good enough. And we had a few players like that. And I think, obviously, as much as we like them, they wouldn't get into like an all-time album. But
I hear that. It was more of a question than a suggestion for this. It's just because it feels. And again, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful about City. I'm not, because I've never been bitter about the money that you or Chelsea have got. It's life. But it's almost like your club's history, or it's just cut into two different periods. That makes sense. I always feel a bit City and Chelsea. It's like you grew up on a council estate, humble beginnings, working class, and then you won the lottery. And it's almost, there wasn't like a massive build up to where you are over a 20, 30 year period. It was kind of like we went from not having it to having it, and whether that changes how you view certain players, and that's what it was. But in terms of picking my first pick in midfield, Yaya's got to be in my team. David Silva's got to be in my team. But Patrick Vieira for me, I just feel, maybe it's my age. I'm 36. I've got my age again. I'm 36. Patrick Vieira was just a young football fans watching. The only time in my life I remember seeing Patrick Vieira misplace a pass, it led to the greatest goal in the FA Cup history, where Ryan Giggs went on to score that madness. That's why that goal is so beautiful for me, because Patrick Vieira misplaced a pass. Like nowadays, we see midfielders every game pass balls out for throw-ins and overhit ball. Patrick Vieira didn't do that. He was so pinpoint. He could tackle, pass, dribble, set up goals. He could score when he needed to, even though he sat much deeper. Whenever he got, if he was in a goal-scoring position, he could score if he needed to. He was just one of the greatest football players that I have ever seen in my life. And Arsenal have been missing him now for nearly 20 years. They haven't replaced him. They simply haven't. And yeah, Yaya will be my first. Yaya's got to be in there. David Silva's got to be in there. But for me, the one player that cannot miss out is Patrick Vieira.
I feel like we've all got similar type of midfield, which is great. But of course, honourable mentions to Cesc Fabregas. Honourable mentions to, listen, maybe he's a forward to you guys. I don't know, but he's a midfielder to me. I would have put Santi Cazorla there. Like when I sent Terry my starting 11, Santi Cazorla fits in there for me. Like obviously, big up David Silva, but
you have to apply. The thing is, you have to apply the context as well, though.
Yes, I know.
Santi was a great
player.
Sorry,
everyone. I'm really sorry. I've fucked up massively tonight. We're meant to be getting Wax on the show. I copied the link in. I put it into his DM. I didn't press the send button, right? So I'm sending it to him now. I was so busy. I literally, everyone was like, "Where is he?" I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." And it was there. He didn't send. I thought he didn't arrive. Obviously, I'm not going to call. I didn't know what happened in his personal life. I thought maybe there was an issue, so I didn't call him out. I've just pressed the send button now. I'm so sorry. I didn't press send. It was in the inbox. Sorry, bruv.
I can't believe this.
I hand over. Sorry, my bad, my mistake. It's the red wine. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Yeah, no, as I was saying, like Sancho's a great player and everything, but what you have to consider is David Silva was the foundation of what City is right now. Like he came in from the start. He was there for 10 years. He had a great career. And then you have to look at the numbers that Yaya put up and things like. There's a season where he scored 10 set pieces, ended up with 20 goals, 9 assists. Like you can't just leave a guy out that's been doing that. And then Vieira, as Terry says, like one of the most greatest players, centre mid that's ever played in this league. You've got to fit him in as well. So yeah.
That's
What
fair.
about Emmanuel Petit?
Go on.
What about Emmanuel Petit? He's an honorable mention. I feel like if we're gonna mention honorable mentions, and we're gonna mention guys like Cesc that never won anything, that we're gonna mention Santi Cazorla, who's never won anything with Arsenal. We have to mention the guys who have won stuff like Roberto Silva and what do you call it, Emmanuel Petit. Those two guys are honorable mentions. They get in. If we didn't have so many midfield options, they would possibly get in. And if we did have to do the best, like 15 or 25, they would obviously be in there.
Cool. Just quickly whilst you wait for Wax to come on. So I got a super chat here from Centurion's 100 points. Right? He says, why is Colin Bell not there? I can't speak much on Colin Bell because I started watching City very recently. But Jan, Steve, talk to me. Who's Colin Bell and why is he not one of your options? Let's start with Jan. Go on.
Colin Bell's from the 60s and the 70s, so we was under the understanding it's like the best 11 from the Premier. So obviously he's just passed away as well. So rest in peace, Colin. But yeah, he's probably Man City's all-time greatest player. So if we was going down that road talking about clubs overall, Colin Bell would definitely be Man City's first pick. But obviously, with it being a Premier 11, he's a bit too old.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, why is no one mentioning KDB? Like, what's going on?
We're getting there.
I picked KDB in my midfield. I went with Vieira, Yaya Toure, and KDB, and I pushed David Silva out wide. Kevin De Bruyne's got, for me, he's got to be in it, man. The guy, what Kevin De Bruyne is doing on the football pitch now, there's not many can do it. Them passes and all that, you know what I mean? He's just another level. And for me, he gets in there. I know we've mentioned Petit, great player. Fabregas, great player. Gilbert, all great players in their own right. But I truly believe that Kevin De Bruyne right now is the best midfielder in Europe. And I think if he carries on the way he's going, he'll be cleaning it up. He'll be cleaning it up.
100%. Kesh, do you want to say something?
He still gets into my team.
He still gets into me.
Listen. KDB's got a place on the right wing for me. He gets into this team.
Right.
He gets into this team.
So do you know what? That's the debate. Sorry, Neats, to jump in. I think it's some people are calling Silva a midfielder. Some people are calling KDB a winger. Some are saying KDB should be on the wing. It's maybe that's part of here. It's because I feel like both need to be in this team.
Mm-hmm.
I literally feel like both need to be in this team. It's where you want to place them. That's the big question. And I suppose when you go 4-3-3, maybe you do have to play one more as a inside type forward on the wing. But yeah, it's they're both too good to leave out. Like KDB and David Silva get into any great Arsenal team ever.
Can't we change the formation?
If you change it to a 4-4-2,
okay, sorry.
We change it to a 4-4-2. We have a shot for Overmars and Perez to be on that right hand side.
What about a 4-2? What about a 4-2-3-1? That work
better? The left hand side. My bad. Say it again.
We got to be careful. A 4-2-3-1.
When you get to your strikers, then it's going to be a nightmare for one striker.
One striker, and that means Dennis Bergkamp's definitely not even on the bench. But
listen, guys, let's just keep it as a 4-3-3. Let's.
No, if you do a 4-4-2, it's a lot simpler for us.
It's simpler, but the debate is,
you know, I really don't think it is.
It's not harder.
KDB and David Silva weren't David Beckham style right midfielders. They never played that position. So I think 4-3-3.
David Silva played that for Spain, didn't he?
Are we trying to say that if this team was actually a team, KDB could not play off the right? Come on.
Nah, he definitely could.
He definitely could. But the question is, how many of us put him as right wing? But anyway, that's just when we get there, innit? I'm not even trying to cause anything. When we get there, we get there. But so far as it stands, it seems like everyone's agreed on Vieira, right? Does anyone disagree with Vieira?
No.
Does anyone disagree with David Silva?
No.
And does anyone disagree with who was the last one again?
Yaya
Toure, the great.
No.
So we're gonna leave it as those three in midfield, and seeing as there's an honourable shout for Kevin De Bruyne, should we start with right wing, Terry?
Yeah, that's a great one to go. That's a great midfield, and the amount. Do you know what's mad? The players that have missed out in that is crazy. Everybody that's tuning in, make sure you're smashing that like button. I know you always forget to do it while we're live. Do it right now for us. Share this on your social media platforms. Sign up to our Discord server as well. Right-hand side of the attack. I mean, it actually feels like the weakest area for Arsenal when, in memory, as the left-hand side and centrally is always really strong for Arsenal. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go to Jan straight away. Who would you pick to play on your right-hand side of the attack?
On the right-hand side? I don't know. It's interesting because I actually had a different formation. I actually have Bergkamp in there. And then obviously I had 2 strikers. But I don't know if he can play there. So, yeah, I'll say Bergkamp. Even if that's not.
I hear that. What about yourself, Igal?
I have a completely different way of setting up. I'm setting up with like somebody in the hole, playing as a false 9. That would be Bergkamp instead of having a right winger, and I'm going to use the 2 main guys as strikers above him.
Oh, so your 4-3-3 would be a narrow 4-3-3 with no wide players.
Yeah.
So based on that logic, Igal, you would leave KDB out of your all-time combined 11.
Yes.
It's madness.
Why would you leave? What I want you to explain to us is why you would leave KDB out.
The nostalgia of Dennis Bergkamp. That's why I'm picking him over him. That's my guy. I'm picking my guy over Kevin De Bruyne. Recency bias does also have a better case for Kevin De Bruyne, but I'm just taking my guy over him. It's just the fan in me.
Okay.
That's my honest opinion.
Does anybody? Neeks actually agrees.
No, I don't agree, but I respect his reasoning. I definitely don't agree, but your reasoning, I do the same thing. So big up you in it. I have KDB all day for me, but you know.
Do you know what? I put both of them in. That's how I did it. I had. Oh no, I didn't actually. I'm lying. I didn't.
I was about to say how.
Do you know what? Yeah, I was getting all confused. But you know what? Yeah, if it's between De Bruyne and Bergkamp, like I've got to pick my guy in it. I just thought like I was throwing in options in it. But yeah, if it's between them 2, I'm gonna pick.
I hear that. So far,
it's a hard one. That
this is what I said to Terry about the formation.
Dennis Bergkamp's name, first of all, guys, disrespecting him in the chat.
Listen, I was gonna go for 3 at the back. I wasn't gonna put Ashley Cole in. I wasn't gonna put any of the fullbacks in. I was gonna go Company, Adams, and Sol at the back. That then leaves me an extra place and position for forward.
Yeah, that's good logic, really, when you think about it. Yeah. I think no one. It's so Bergkamp's got 1 vote. KDB's got a vote. Neeks went with KDB, right? On for the right hand or the next pick. We don't even need to worry about formations. It's the next pick. He's got 1. Kesh, who would you pick out of Bergkamp and KDB, or would you go for somebody different?
I've got to get KDB in the team. I have to.
Over Bergkamp, you're a gooner, and you're picking KDB.
I have to. It's not that I think KDB is better than Bergkamp, but if you see his numbers, he's just as good as a player, but he's putting up massive numbers, and you can't overlook that.
No, but you also have to look at how the game has changed. The game has changed so much that, just for example, assists are counted more now, because I don't think assists were counted the way they were back then, right, Terry? As you said to me last time.
Since 2004, the simple assist, so a 5-yard pass, 30 yards out, that I then scream into the top corner now counts as an assist. They never used to before 2004. Just to give you the numbers, Dennis Bergkamp played 315 Premier League games, scored 87 goals and assisted 94 goals. You know, when people tell you players of old didn't have good numbers, all the great attacking players of old had good numbers. It's an absolute myth they didn't have good numbers. Only freaks say that, and eye test merchants, knobheads, right? KDB, 173 games, 39 goals, 76 assists already. Like, this kid is serious. Steve, who you picking out of Bergkamp or KDB? I think I know, but I've got to ask.
Do you know what? Dennis Bergkamp, grew up watching him. Fantastic player. Got to take me off to him. Technically, one of the best I've ever seen. Always admired him. Like you say, I picked KDB. I had KDB in midfield though, and like I say, I had David Silva just behind the front two. I'm not going to name him, but we will get there. But that's how I did it. So I did fit KDB in there. But yeah, Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, when City signed him, he was labelled the flop, the reject, Chelsea reject. Can't believe they're spending all this money on a flop and all that. All them pundits on Sky. And you know what? He just made him eat the words.
You know what I love,
yeah?
I love how everyone's saying I hate watch Dennis Bergkamp, yeah. But when I said put KDB out right, they're like, KDB can't play right. Dennis Bergkamp can't play right either. So it's just a preference of choice, isn't it? Simple.
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne's played out there. He can play anywhere, Kevin. You know what I mean? You look at him now, he's playing false nine. He's playing defensive midfield, sometimes like a quarterback. Yeah, it's tough because it's Dennis Bergkamp, but like you say, Kevin De Bruyne's Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, he don't look like a footballer with his mad ginger hair and he gets proper red and that's when you know you have to take him off the bench, give him a rest. But the guy's knocking goals in from everywhere, passes in that you can't even see. He's another level.
Yeah,
man.
it's so hard to pick.
Recency bias though?
There isn't a recency bias from Steve. I know Steve's a City fan, but Steve's like me. Steve's old as fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like we're old men. Like I'm joking, bro. Like we're older. I remember Bergkamp. I remember it like it was yesterday. The guy was sublime. The guy was amazing. But where was he trying to fit a 4-3-3 formation? Even if we forget that and we go to a number, that's sort of a second striker or number 10. If you turned around to me now and said Bergkamp or KDB, I would pick KDB. And I think Bergkamp's brilliant, but I would pick KDB. I think he's the better of the two gingers. What are you saying, Adam? Because you look like you're about to flip.
Bro, I'm not even about to flip. It's KDB. It's not even a question for me. KDB. Let's be honest. KDB is a robot. That man is a robot. You put him in a team, you know you're getting double figures for assists. You're probably going to get double figures for goals as well. And if not, you're getting 8 or 9 in a season. Let's not forget, he's done one of the best assists we've ever seen in the Premier League. He rolled it across the face of the goal. Defenders couldn't get it. Goalkeeper couldn't get it. And it was a tap-in for I think it was Sane that scored it. Bro, the guy is a robot. He will spam crosses. They'll go exactly where he wants them to go. Put him in that team. You're scoring goals. That's it. He's either scoring them or he's trading for somebody else.
We're going to take it away from individuals. He was also part of a team that won back-to-back titles. So, plus he can get on an aeroplane. I mean,
Also,
I'd pick him for that reason. He can fly an aeroplane, you know what I mean? KJ's joined us. KJ, don't know where he's been. I don't know if he's been watching, been chatting to his girl, whatever. Like KJ,
what girl are you talking about, bro? You know what I'm saying?
No,
leaking secrets in that, fam.
Not Anita. Just so everyone knows.
Yes.
Me and Anita are basically brother and sister. Nah, none of that, fam. None of that. You know what I'm saying? All right, yo, I'm good, man. You guys are doing this all wrong, fam. You do this all wrong. The team is right. The formation, though. 4-4-2 diamond. That's what I'm saying, fam. You know what I'm saying? 4-4-2 diamond. At the base of the diamond, you have Vieira. Right centre mid, Kevin De Bruyne. Left centre mid, Yaya Toure. In the 10, you have David Silva. And then you got the two greatest foreign players.
We ain't got to that yet.
I know you haven't. I'm not gonna say it, but just two of the greatest foreign players.
KJ, but in saying that, then you're leaving out. We haven't got to the left-hand side yet. You're leaving out the Perez's, the Overmars, the Raheem.
Yeah, them man can get bun. Don't worry about them, man.
No.
Hey, brother.
Drop him out the stream.
I'm not saying
that.
I'm not saying
that
bad.
That, bro.
Midfield with the two man them that I want up top. Those guys are sitting bench. They're holding bench.
So you talk about Perez, who was putting up mad numbers playing from left wing.
Yeah, but
come
4-4-2 diamonds. With the two man up front.
As it stands right now, KDB, because there's too many votes for him, is in the forward levels. We're going to go to the left-hand side now. We're going to go to the left-hand side, or if you want to change the formation, the second forward, barring a striker, who would be, you can change it to a narrow 4-3-3, a wide 4-3-3. I don't really mind. I'm really not panicky about it. Igal, who you picking and why?
Okay, so what I did was I had Bergkamp in the 10, and I had Henry on the left hand side of that 2. I would put Henry on the left based on everything.
Sorry, what do you want to know from me? Because
I want your opinion on what Igaldo said, because that your lip dropped, bro. You're gonna trip over it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Henry's not going anywhere but the central striking role for me. I don't think people are gonna like what I have
my
to say.
formation's different. My formation is different. That's why.
Yeah, yours is different. I'm sticking to the 4-3-3. I'm having Kevin De Bruyne on the left. I'm having Raheem Sterling on the right, and that's it for me.
Or the other way around? You mean the other way around?
No, I mean that way.
Sterling.
All time.
You think Raheem Sterling? So you think all-time Sterling?
Oh my god.
Yo, Adam, what are you
Over
drinking,
who?
fam?
He doesn't even get in over Overmars. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, he gets to the Overmars. But come on,
Bro, you're so desperate for Overmars to be your director of football. He ain't watching, bro. Man. If you are, Mark, I think you're great, brother. We need you at United. Come check us out.
Bring Edwin too, fam, while you're at it, fam. You know what I'm saying?
As it stands now, so we've got one vote for on the left hand, this not the central role or the final pick. We've got Henry's got 1 vote, Sterling's got a vote. Steve, who are you picking for that left hand side or your second pick?
Henry, man. Henry, yeah. I had it set up with Henry on that left all day long. I can't look past him. I just can't look past him. The way I've set my team up as well, fitting De Bruyne and Silva in it, it's Henry anyway. Listen, he was as soon as you said combined 11, Man City, Arsenal,
first
he's
two.
the first name that I put on the sheet. You know what I mean?
You on that? What about yourself, Jan?
Yeah, he was first on the team sheet for me. Gotta be. I'm really but I wouldn't leave Aguero out, so that's why I wouldn't put Sterling in. So I'm really on the left. If that's where
Henry on the left, KJ.
It has to be Henry, man. Vavavoom, fam. You know what I'm saying? Come on. This guy, one of the greatest players to ever play in the Premier League, and you wanna not put him in the team? Nah, bro. He has to go on the left. Have to, man.
What am I talking about, bro?
There's a super chat here for a second that says it's a disgrace how these young Arsenal fans disrespect Iceman Bergkamp for some new stat merchant. Man's calling KDB a stat merchant.
That's mad. That's really
Terry, can I just dive in on this? Yeah, because
go on.
man's saying Overmars revolutionized that role. Bruv, man played 100 games and he scored 25. If anyone revolutionized that role, it was Perez, bro. Get out of it.
What
are you talking about, bro?
You know why people think Overmars did it? Because Overmars had that pace, right? And it was like balls over the top, and it was more flashy, I think. And flashy always stands out. On the stat merchant thing, I spoke about this last night and bored my viewers to death with it. You cannot, from an attacking player, a creator or a scorer, you can't find me a great that doesn't have good statistics. Now, you can find me greats that are older, whose stats look low in terms of assists because they never used to count assists properly before 2004. So they don't exist. They're not there. But people say Zidane's numbers ain't great, right? And you actually look at it and it's sort of like 600 games and there's 300 to 400 goal contributions. It's like they're all good. Like no one who's a great in an attacking sense has bad numbers. Otherwise, we wouldn't have called him great. Like, do you know what I mean? Imagine every pass Zidane played through as a through ball went out for a corner, but because the skill before it was good, nobody would have called him great. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. We'll open the book later. So remember, the viewers will get the chance to change this team with their super chats later on in the show. Neats, who you picking on that left? Are you going to pick Henry or Sterling? Who would you go with?
Do you know what? Sterling was. Sorry, no disrespect to Sterling. I love Sterling. I love him. But when you're talking like people like Henry, I'm like, come on, you can't really put Sterling in the mix. Listen, the way I see things, yeah. I'm making KDB in that 10 role, and I'm having the 2 forwards in it. So that's how I'm doing it. Yeah. So that's why the left side, Henry's getting in there. We all know he's getting in on the right side. That's me in it. But KDB gets in there regardless, and so does Henry, and so does the next guy we're going to debate. But Adam, I don't know why you're going to just have one number 9. Like, when you have the privilege of having both of them playing together.
Listen, I'm going to say he who shall not be named. It's not Voldemort, it's Aguero. I know he's going to be. I just don't know whether Thierry Henry and Sergio Aguero could ever play together. I don't know if
They
It's
could, fam. They
It's
could.
fake.
I just don't know if they could in it.
Or
That-
even if
that was
it's
my
not
concern.
real, fam. Even if it's not real, they could. The levels of these two footballers, yeah, they have and all it is as well. They've haunted United in so many different ways. It's frustrating, but they're
I
class.
hear
man.
you.
They could
I hear
do
you,
it.
but you think about some other great players that have never been able to cut it. Like the first one on top of my head is Gerrard and Lampard.
Yeah,
For
but
some
them
reason,
man
they couldn't
exposed.
play
That's why.
together.
That's why.
And I don't know if Thierry Henry and Sergio Aguero could ever play together in a two.
The thing is,
Like-
Henry never stuck to a central role when he's playing. He
You
had the
always-
freedom to move, and then with the likes of Ashley Cole, who's just gonna be bombing down that side. He's not gonna be stuck out on the left. He's gonna be tucking in.
I hear it.
Yeah, I look, for me, I mean, I've already finalized the team, if I'm being honest. Like, not to cut the debate short or anything, but for me, I've put KDB, Henry, and Aguero, and I think you can play them narrow. You can set the starting positions wide. They're gonna be flexible. They're gonna move. They're gonna come in. They're gonna move out. Aguero isn't a Michael Owen or a Robbie Fowler who is just a finisher. Like this guy, if he drifts out to the left or the right and KDB comes in central, he can handle himself there. The great thing about that whole front three is they're ballers. They're finishers and creators. They have amazing outputs, which is the most important part of football. But they are technically gifted. They can use their left. They can use their right. The most annoying thing about them is, as a United fan, is there's nothing wrong with either of them. That you can't even find a flaw really in those players, barring the fact that there's none. They play for City or Arsenal. That's about the only thing that you can find. It's absolutely it's ridiculous how good they are. And when you look at that combined 11, I mean, who do you feel sorry for having missed out of that when you actually weigh it up?
Fabregas.
Perez.
And Anelka played well for both teams.
And now
Ban and Elka, man.
Good shout.
Elka, man.
Don't disrespect
Ban and Elka,
Anelka.
man.
Don't disrespect Anelka.
He played well for both
No,
teams.
it's not a disrespect, but come on, man. We're talking about greats. Come on.
Yeah, he's a great. He bounced from team to team. He's played for everyone here.
Wait, Anita, who did you just
Premier
say?
League, he had his greatest time in the Premier League at Bolton, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? That's where he was at his best.
And Chelsea, he put Drogba in the mud.
Oh,
This is why
actually,
people
you're right.
talk about that
That's one of-
2008 season.
He's one of my favorite Chelsea players.
You're annoying, man. Get out of
Hey.
here. Get out of here.
Yo, honorable mention from City. Who else is there?
Oh.
That would get it.
My
Nasri,
career
bro.
maybe,
Nasri, fam.
like
I think Fernandinho would be the guy that I would
Yeah.
say. I think Fernandinho stands out to me. Not for his footballing, but for his punditry. Micah Richards, I wouldn't mind seeing that team right now.
Alexis Sanchez as well, by the way.
I didn't even include him. I didn't even include him.
No. For his Arsenal. Time at Arsenal was wavy. Let's not.
In fairness, when you look at that
One
team,
season.
I haven't really included any Arsenal player of the lot. I don't think there's an Arsenal player on there barring Cazorla. There isn't an Arsenal man in there from the last 5 or 6 years because I didn't think it warranted it.
Which
is
is
like-
I was saying Ozil. Ozil did have one good, really.
Oh, come on.
I didn't say it. I'm just looking at the chat.
You know
People are
what it
saying
is?
Ozil.
Do you know what it is though? You've got to compare because it's like Fernandinho is my favorite player at Man City, but he can't. Vieira is clear. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to put him in, I wouldn't say clear like in terms of because I love Fernandinho, but you can't not put Vieira in at all-time City Arsenal 11. So even though I love Fernandinho, he can't go in there. And I think that's what it is with Ozil. You can't be putting Ozil over David Silva. So this is where the argument comes from. Because it's not that they're not good enough or they're not close or whatever, but it's when you're thinking, if someone said to you, Vieira or Fernandinho, you're probably not going to take Fernandinho.
If
And
Ashley
that's
Cole,
my favorite player. Do you know what I mean? So
And that is why I said Bon Perez and Overmars. Not because they're not good, just because there's so many more men better than him.
What's
that are better
horrible
than him.
about the debate? What's really horrible? It's like picking between a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. You're not saying one's bad. It's I've got to pick one. Listen, someone here says no mention to Ian.
Premier League.
Listen,
Oh come on,
You're
Uncle,
right.
let Uncle Righty chill in
Man.
peace, fam.
I love him, right? And if you actually look here, when I've got to put it on the screen, I'm a knobhead, right? If you actually look here, Ian Wright is someone who's down there in case anyone mentioned it. I wouldn't leave Wrighty off. He's definitely like Fabregas is here, like Honorable Laurent here. That they're here, there were options, but the reason they're not in is because as great as Ian Wright was, and again, I grew up as a United fan hating that guy. One of my best friends at school, Ashley White, big up yourself, brother, if you're watching. Like when he left school and was old enough to do it, man went and got a gold tooth just to look like Ian Wright. Ian Wright. You don't see that anymore, the gold tooth. Like on my estate, bro, every other man had a gold tooth. Do you know what I mean? I remember saying to my dad, I want to get a gold tooth. He gave me a look like, I'll beat you, son. I didn't do it. But like my boy Ashley White did it. And Ian Wright's great, but he just can't compete with Aguero or Thierry Henry, and that's not a disrespect. Yeah. However, we're going to move the debate forward now. Viewers, if you want to open, we're going to open the book. If you want to come on and get your super chats in, and if you want to change any of this team, this is what the Football Terrace panelists have picked as the combined 11. We're going to move on to negotiating the GOAT now. You can get your super chats in to change this team round. We've got however long left on the show. I don't know if anyone's got a chip, they've got a chip, but we're going to continue to negotiate the GOAT. You can get your super chats in now to change this team around as and when you want to. But the GOAT question is the big one. And I'm going to go first to the Football Terrace queen on this one. We're going to go to Anita. When you think about everyone we've spoken about tonight, who is the greatest player in Premier League history outright when you look at both clubs?
Do you know, it's mad, yeah, because Terry, I think we need to exclude Henry because there's absolutely no one in their damn right mind that will pick anybody apart from Thierry Henry. I'm telling you, we need to exclude him. When we exclude him, then it will get a bit juicy. What are you saying?
Does anybody agree?
I agree.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Yeah. You could argue
automatic
someone else, but
the obvious choice. Definitely.
Okay, so I'm cool with that because, as I say, elements of the Football Terrace are a democracy. So Henry's been put in there, excluded. Out of every other mofo that's left, right? Out of everybody else that's left, Anita, who would you then pick as the GOAT elect?
Ashley Cole, very easily for me. Ashley Cole, purely because there's absolutely no one in world football who has ever done what he has done in that left back position. Ashley Cole, no one is doing it right now. No one was doing it back then. We're still even trying to find who's better than Ashley Cole at the minute. Like, that, it's no debate for me. I hear some Liverpool fans that shout Robertson, and I look at them like, y'all don't really watch football, do you? But hey, it is what it is. But for me, Ashley Cole, 100%. Anyone else is an honourable mention, but yeah, Ashley Cole.
You're making me want to pick Winterburn as the left back. Don't do that.
Bro.
It's Ashley Cole. Just because he disrespected y'all, please. What that man done in Premier League history.
I'm going to hand over, because I've got to run to the bathrooms. I'm going to hand over to Anita to take over the controls. But Igal, who would you pick as your GOAT outside of Thierry Henry?
It has to be Vieira for me, man. Patrick Vieira left that hole in our midfield. Ever since he left, we've never been the same. He's one man you could literally, if you have a Patrick Vieira in your team and you build around him, you don't need nothing else from the midfield. He's one of the most complete players that we've ever had. And just watching him, he got forward, basically started attacks from nothing by winning the ball up high up the pitch. Defensively, he was there, on job, leader, captain. If it wasn't for Patrick Vieira, honestly, I don't know if I would be an Arsenal fan today, because that was one of the first guys that I fell in love with watching football. So for me, it's Patrick Vieira.
Listen, I wish Terry was here so he can do the violin thing. Like that was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. Bless you. What about you, Adam? Why are you moving your face like that? Who's your guy?
I'm just thinking, what you said about Ashley Cole actually makes a lot of sense for once.
Wow.
Just joking. It does make sense for Ashley Cole because he dominated and was the best left back in the history of two clubs almost, which I've never actually thought about. However, Yaya Toure was a monster, a monster. I don't know many people that midfielders that are bagging 20 plus goals from midfield in a season. I don't know many midfielders that can dominate at DM at Barcelona, then playing number 10 at Man City, then playing as a number 6, and I don't know. Yaya Toure, I've seen him score some stupid goals that he has no right to be scoring right foot, left foot. Yeah, I guess I want an honourable mention for Yaya Toure, but by your logic, Ashley Cole does make sense. I have to agree.
So just to confirm, because you said so many nice things about Yaya Toure, not enough about Ashley Cole. You are choosing Ashley Cole.
I am choosing Ashley Cole, yes.
Okay, 2 for Ashley Cole, 1 for Vieira. I'm going to go to a Man City fan. Let's try and even this out a little bit. Big Steve, what about you? Who's your GOAT?
What I'd do is, get Thierry Henry from where you just put him, and put him back. And then I'd get Aguero and put him back down to the GOAT. Because for me, Aguero's my GOAT. I put him ahead of Henry. I think the disrespect that people are showing on Aguero, picking left backs and all that, is pretty bad. I know Ashley Cole's done it as left back, but come on, man. If you're comparing left backs, there's only him. There's no other one to compare him to. But when you're comparing great strikers, there's loads of them. You know what I mean? So I'd go Aguero every time. I think the moments he's done for City, consistency, for me, Aguero is the goal. Yeah, man.
Why are you putting Aguero over Henry, bro? Steve, hold
on, guys. 1 second. Let me catch Terry up.
Got to give thumbs down for that, boy.
Terry,
it's an Arsenal fans don't have much to cling on to, so they're still clinging on to them Henry days and that. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, look, get out the Henry bubble. We know he was a good player in that, but respect Sergio Aguero, man.
Calm down.
I can't believe this. Terry basically move Henry down and put Aguero up.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, so Henry. So I mean, that's what you want. You want Henry down and then Aguero up. Well, the viewers can have their say on this. The viewers can come in. The viewers can super chat. We have a comment here that says Guardiola agent has you guys forgetting Aguero. He has more career goals than Henry in 300 less games. More goals in England, more trophies in England.
Exactly.
I mean, does that not count, people? I mean, like,
no.
He's played for longer than Henry.
He's played for longer. Right?
Yeah, but he left.
Yeah.
We're doing GOAT in the Premier League. He leaves.
It's an easy
one.
one.
I'm a bit baffled, right? Because Steve makes a lot of sense. Like,
no,
it's
he does not.
Now, it's something to look at because when we think about GOATs and stuff,
we're talking about GOATs.
We speak about longevity as well. Just because.
Before you go, when we said let's exclude Henry, I did say there's only one other that you might maybe try and take over him, and that guy would be Aguero. Most goals from a foreign player in the Premier League, fam. He overtook Henry.
He's not the GOAT.
I'm not saying he is.
Why are we forgetting that Henry has
a question though about the GOAT thing, and I'm doing this to play devil's advocate here, right? Don't City fans watching and Jan and Steve, I'm not saying this is out of disrespect. Do you think if City had a bigger national and international fan base, there'd be a bigger push over the last 3 or 4 years to put Aguero into that position? Because Man United fans right now, and rightfully so, are pushing the Bruno agenda because the man's out. I think he's the only person to outscore and assist him in the last 12 months. Final Messi, right? They push it, but because they've got a big global fan base, it gets pushed. I honestly think if Aguero had done what he's done for Liverpool, or for Man United, or for Arsenal, he'd be looked at in a different light. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to City. It's not your fault. You're behind the other clubs from a global standpoint. I do think Aguero, the way people dismiss Aguero as nowhere near Henry, like they're batting away a fly. He has to be near.
But Terry, we're saying goals as if even though Henry scored goals, he was assisting at mad numbers when it comes to assists. Like, come on. Like, you can't forget that. But as we said, we're pushing Henry to the side. But we're talking about goals. There's only 2 goals after Henry for me. And that's either Roy Keane or Vieira. If you're talking about Premier League and what made you want to watch these games, it's Roy Keane or Vieira. They was the brand of the Premier League.
I hear that. If you want to win, if you want super chasers, if you want to win a match, you put Henry in your team. As simple as that. Henry was magic. Stats don't say anything. Well, stats do say something because they say a lot. Thierry Henry.
And
let me just say about stats. Sorry, mate. They do say a lot. You know what I say about good players of old don't have good stats. Henry in the Premier League. It's sickening, man. 258 games, 175 goals, and 74 assists. Don't ever come. I'm going to speak to the audience here. I'm really sorry to do this. And I know I sound like an arrogant prick. I don't care. If anybody comes on the football terrace and says great players of old don't have good stats, attacking players I'm talking about here, they're banned for life. Like Henry left the Premier League in like 2007, 8, something like that. He played 258 games and he's nearly matched that in goals and assists. All great attacking players have great numbers. That's why they're great attacking players. Do you know the people that have pushed this notion are the fanboys of average elite level football players who look good on their eye, that have tried to convince you that having a 15 goal season every other year is normal.
State names, Terry. State names.
I'm not talking about Zard fanboys here. I'm just saying all the time. You've been fooled. You've been fooled into thinking that stats don't matter. Of course they do. The reason Henry, Aguero, and Shearer and Rooney and all these men are looked at as the best of the best of the best of the best is because they had ability and outputs. Anybody that doesn't believe that is a knobhead, bruv. And I'm saying like I'm back in Manchester now, knobhead. I never said that until I moved to Manchester. And that's what everyone says. Even my friends called their dads knobheads, and it was normal. Loved it. Knobhead. Knobhead.
Listen, the longer Aguero stays and he wins these titles at the back end of his career where he's not playing many games and he's being injured, it's actually dampening his resume as being the GOAT. Because Henry left at a time where he was at the top of his game and went on to do better things at Barcelona, where Aguero here, he's wilting away at the back end of his career, and people will remember that. And when you remember somebody, you remember them for their last. No. When you remember somebody, you don't only remember them for their great points. You remember them
based on that logic. So based on your logic, there, Gal, the Arsene Wenger was a bang average manager.
I'm saying based on that back end of your career, people can remember that and hold that against you and say,
they can. But Gal, it's not like Wenger. Wenger went years without titles and trophies. Aguero, it's been a couple of years, or a year or two, him being out of that City team because of injury and age. Come on, bro. No one's gonna remember the fact that he got old and got injured and he didn't win the title with that team. No one's gonna remember that.
But let's be honest, he's not even going out bad. Like Aguero is in 4 competitions at this stage in the season. Aguero could, obviously, I doubt it's going to happen, but Aguero could potentially go out of the quad. I doubt it would happen. Yeah, he could potentially do that.
You know what I would say as well, right? Premier League wise, sorry, Neats, is Aguero's also got something. I don't know how many other players have got. He has got the Aguero moment. It's called the Aguero moment. And these things that I can't actually think, barring Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't know if anybody else has got one in the Premier League.
Not the Premier League, Champions League, but you know.
Getting the winner. But in terms of winning a tournament with the last kick of a game, how many people have done that?
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Because
true.
I had Henry as the GOAT, but it's not. Aguero has to be a shout. Like I know we said it originally.
He's got a shout, definitely.
Henry, but if you look at Aguero, statistically, he's up there with Henry. He's actually in terms of goals, he's actually in terms of stats, right? But Henry was a fantastic player. Like to watch him was brilliant. Obviously, I didn't see all of his.
If Henry in his peak played in this Man City team,
he'd be sick.
For Aguero, Aguero came in and won the league in his first season at 22. Do you know what I mean? And he went on and he could potentially have 5. So the gap is not as big as people.
And also
not Henry up here and Aguero down here.
Of course.
People are saying, oh, but Henry was magic to watch, and that's why he's better. You acting like Aguero was magic, man. Aguero was magic.
Can I ask a question here? Can we talk about Henry in cup finals, please?
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I'm not having a go at it. I always love this argument, right? Because he's awful in cup finals. Fact. You know, when you get like the have hope, I love you, you're my brother. but you're a knobhead, right? If you don't do it in finals, you're a trash player. You know how they throw that at certain players. Until X does it in a semi-final or a final, he's a trash player. Like Henry didn't. Listen, Henry for me, I know everyone's going to say, like, the viewers like, oh, Henry for me is still the greatest player in Premier League history. I'd still put him into that category, barring he was better than Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs had better longevity. So the best player in Premier League history. The greatest player in Premier League history for me is Ryan Giggs because the longevity argument in that, what he won and everything else. And the fact that Ryan Giggs, and I'm changing the subject here, dominated a midfield and won a league at 40 years old. Henry ain't doing that, right? So best player versus greatest is different. But it's the way, I think, as Jan and Steve have said, people just disregard Sergio Aguero in the same way as when it comes to David Silva. David Silva doesn't get anywhere near the respect a player of his ability, achievements, outputs, and consistency over a decade can take.
That's because they can't put aside their bias, though.
I would pick him above Bergkamp every single day of the week, and not because Bergkamp.
Pick him ahead of Vieira.
Ever. What's that, mate?
Would you pick him ahead of Vieira if you had to pick one midfielder from the team?
Who ahead of Vieira? Well, no, Vieira and David are playing the same position. So
One second.
Let it all finish.
1 second. If you were to pick one midfielder from the three midfielders that are in that team right now, who would you pick? If you could only pick one.
Yaya Toure gives you a bit of both, innit?
Yaya Toure. Yeah, I'm picking Yaya Toure over Vieira.
Right now, for Man United, I would pick him. Right now, I'd probably pick Patrick Vieira right now. For Man United, what I need, but Yaya's great. It really, I need to know what role you need me to put a man in. If you're saying hold a midfielder,
to build a team around,
Yaya Toure. Yaya Toure. Build a team around Yaya Toure.
I'd go with Vieira myself, but yeah, I mean Yaya's a great shout. But if you need a creative player to open up a team, David Silva is right up there with everybody else in Premier League history. And obviously today we're comparing Arsenal versus City, so you discount all the great players from Man United and Chelsea. You look at those two teams. I think he has to. But so I always find City's players get disrespected because they don't have as many fans on social media. So it's noise.
Can I just add to that? Yeah, because like I'm not being funny. Before Steve brought it up, I didn't really think it was that much of a debate. But now that it's been brought up, I think about it and I think if Aguero played for Arsenal, this debate would have been had a very long time ago.
It wouldn't have done that.
It wouldn't have done.
The reason why it would have done is
conversion rate, and because of how silky he plays football, there would have been a comparison much earlier.
Aguero would have the impact.
Your fan base. Wait, hold on. Let me just finish. Your fan base is one of the largest fan bases in the Premier League, right? And that's why Henry will always get a mention, because anyone who not even just apart from his ability and stuff, apart from that, he will always get a mention because your fan base is bigger than everyone else's. Man City, no disrespect to Man City, but your fan base is not as big as Arsenal's, which is why the debate you can always get shut down. So it's nice that we're having this debate right now, and I think Aguero does have a huge shout, but nostalgia is playing a very big part.
Neeks makes a great point there. I think I feel that if Aguero, I know what you said that Aguero may not have been as good in the way Arsenal have been in the last 10 years, but if he had delivered in the same way, you'd be forcing that debate of maybe younger versus older Arsenal fans. How I know that is with Man United fans, because we've had greats over multiple eras. And you look at what Bruno Fernandes is doing now, and there are lots of younger United. It's like Cantona, the older ones saying, yeah, but he's got to win the trophies as well. If he does start winning those trophies, I'm not saying it's going to happen, then it comes down to, wow, somebody's challenging for that title. Arsenal haven't had a player. When you look at this great team, right, we put it up on the screen. You haven't had a goalie better since Seaman. Not even close, in my opinion. Lehmann was good, not as close. You haven't had a left back anywhere near as good. You haven't had a centre back, barring Sol Campbell, anywhere near as good. You haven't had a midfielder anywhere near Vieira's level. You've not had a striker anywhere near Henry's level. When you start looking at the rest of that team that we could have picked tonight, and you start going through it, you haven't had a right back as good as Dixon since Sanya, and he left ages ago. Over Mars, probably you could throw in Alexis Sanchez, challenges him in terms of that. You haven't had a player as good as Cesc even since he left. You haven't had a player anywhere near Perez since he left. Like Arsenal, it's a lot easier for Arsenal fans to have this debate because since these great players left your club, they've never been replaced.
But Terry, what I would say
I'm wrong in saying that.
What I would say to that is I disagree, because it's not just Arsenal fans that push that narrative that Henry is the GOAT. It comes from the neutrals as well. So it's not us that push it.
But again, it still comes to the fact that he plays for City. If Aguero, okay, take Arsenal out of it then. If Aguero played for Manchester United, you telling me that we wouldn't be fighting right now about who's better, Aguero or Henry?
You would, but you'd be doing it wrong. Like, the fact is, we're completely ignoring an aspect of Henry's game. Like, the guy was a creator as well as an elite creator as well as an elite scorer. We're all talking about how KDB needs to be in the team because he's hit 20 Premier League assists. Henry had that as well as hitting 30 plus goals. Like, I get that Aguero is an excellent player, but he's not in the same category.
Yeah, but Adam, but this is not.
Then Aguero is an A minus.
But the thing is, the argument's not about discrediting Henry. It's about putting respect on Sergio Aguero. And I feel like as Arsenal fans, you hear Aguero is up there almost, and you hear, wait, they're discrediting Henry. No, that's disgraceful. No, we're not doing that. We are just saying Aguero deserves more props than he actually gets due to the fact that he plays for Manchester City.
But I think it's when Sky Sports have debates like, is Aguero the greatest ever foreign player in the Premier League or foreign striker? We hear that and we're like, no, he's not, because it's Henry. But that doesn't mean that we're disrespecting Aguero. It's just that
what I would say is this though as well. Like, listen, I still put Henry on the top, but it's about respect on Sergio Aguero. So Aguero's played 10 more Premier League games, right? Mm-hmm. So in the same distance of games played, Henry won 2 league titles, 2 FA Cups, okay? Got a double in that as well. 1, forget Community Shields. Cup winners, cup runners-up, and UEFA Champions League runners-up. Aguero in that same... Because what often happens when you throw stats out there, but what's he won? Aguero, 1, 2, 3, 4 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, and a runner-up in that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 League Cups, as well. So you look at it and think to yourself, barring European success, which hasn't come yet, he has won more trophies in that with 10 more games. He's played 10 more games in the Premier League, but he's won double the amount of titles. And you could argue, because City are a well-run club, but Henry was at Arsenal when Arsenal were in their pomp. Mm-hmm. And he didn't go back-to-back. He didn't shoot. And forget this. So if we put stats aside, Aguero's gone back-to-back once, and he's won 4 Premier League titles. Henry's only won 2 Premier League titles. I thought he won 3. He's only won 2 Premier League titles. So if we're going to look at it in terms of titles and how people have performed in finals, Aguero's clear. Far clear.
Had to pull the load. Has Aguero had to pull the load, the same amount of load?
No, I'm sorry. I need told you to fuck off then. I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that. Henry was playing in an Arsenal team when Arsenal were great. Don't think of Arsenal now, bruv, where Alexis Sanchez and Ozil were carrying you. Henry played in Arsenal teams that were scintillating, powerful, beautiful, aggressive, nasty. They were amazing.
One thing I would say,
even in our greatest time.
No.
Terry, one thing I would say though is Henry never had the luxury of a team that was always getting refreshed every season. No. We wasn't getting refreshed every season.
Barring Manchester United, Arsenal were clear of everybody financially, squad-wise. It was Arsene Wenger who said no. That was like, I'm not. That's on the manager, but still, Arsenal were a colossal team then. And I still put Thierry in front. The only thing that ever annoys me about the debate is where everyone's like, no, it's not debatable. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
that's the bit that frustrates me.
Also, I think on your point, Kesh, with the whole refreshing the team stuff, isn't that kind of a testament to how great Aguero is that he can literally play with anybody?
No, because but then you got people talk about systems.
3 different managers.
I mean, I'm just saying. My go is Henry, but this debate is
Henry's the guy, fam. But the disrespect that Aguero gets, as much as I hate him for what he did to us in 2012, I have to defend it.
But you can say the same. You can say the same about what Man United fans do with Bruno to KDB. It's the same thing. So
but that was not serious.
Oh no, but
it's not serious.
No, you're right though. People turn around and say when you throw up Bruno's numbers, what's pretty much the first response you get? Yeah, but what's he won?
I don't get why people do that though.
Because it's part of it. Because Bruno Fernandes himself has said, "I love what I'm doing individually, but if I don't win trophies, it counts." You could argue the same with we all do it with Harry Kane, because Harry Kane's not won anything. We discount his numbers. Young here says Aguero has no pace, couldn't take long shots like Henry, wasn't a playmaker assister. He has 47 assists in the Premier League alone, so he does assist. Not to Henry.
Couldn't take long shots.
Can I say something though? When we talk about, if we go to about GOAT though, you look at the sheer arrogance Henry does what he does. That's what I call a GOAT. I'm looking at you, I'm showing you, this is what I do. I do it a certain way. Everything he's done was with arrogance. How many golden boots has he taken home with him? Like little things like that. Come on, man. He adds a salt on top of it.
Yeah, listen, that element you can't like. Sorry, Jan, go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, the thing is that we already, before we started talking about the GOAT, we already said it's gonna be Henry for most people. So that's not the debate that we're having. What I would argue, and what a lot of people are arguing, is that the gap isn't as big as people make.
It's not big.
People make out like Aguero is just some any player and Henry is the best of all time, and it's like a Messi Ronaldo thing. It's, you know, they're both brilliant in their own ways or whatever, but it's not. I'm not saying that Aguero is better than Henry, because I don't agree with that myself. But at the same time, like, Aguero has to be, and Henry himself puts Aguero in that conversation. That's
you lot really think you really think it's because you support City and your fan base isn't as wide?
No,
do you
there's
know
a bigger
what?
issue, Adam.
I think what happens is it plays into it, because you get people now saying like Bruno's better than De Bruyne, and you get a lot of people running with that. Do you know what I mean? And I think with City fans, like, City fans are quite humble. Like, most City fans in here will be like, yeah, Henry. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it was like, say it was the other way around and Henry was Aguero and Aguero was Henry, Arsenal fans would not say Aguero. They
what about the commercial element?
You know what I mean? So
What do you mean the commercial element?
Because in the sense, Henry was on every poster, was everywhere. You'd see him everywhere when he was in the Champions League. Where Aguero,
it does.
It does. When it comes to
Oh, Gal, you're right in the sense of it makes you think of a player more. Paul Scholes' biggest issue is, I'm sorry to say this, Scholesy, if you're watching, you're a bang average looking ginger geezer that didn't look good wearing a pair of boxer shorts. If Paul Scholes was stunning looking,
to be fair,
Henry's like a good looking man. He's smart. He's the va-va-voom, right? You can market that. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the reasons why he makes more money outside of football than Messi is because Messi is little gimp. Like, Messi ain't a good looking guy. Like, Messi ain't. Like, Messi's a bit of a weird. Messi looked like a support guy, right?
Yeah, Beckham was the guy who started this.
And Beckham's a great example. Beckham wasn't as good as Zidane, but he made more money than him, right? But when you make more money, it means you're more publicized. Paul Pogba has got he's a great player, got the image that goes with it. You look at Bruno Fernandes, man looks like Splinter from the Ninja Turtles, bro. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's not as marketable. But that plays into your mind. But that's a marketing trick, isn't it? That's a marketing trick in your head. Like, I don't want to see Harry Kane wear a pair. Like, Harry Kane can't stand there and Kevin Klein's going, do you want to look like me? He can't do it, right? But it takes away from you. It's Harry talks. Harry talks.
No, what about the global element? What about the global element? The fact that the man was in the World Cup killing it. Aguero was not the star man for Argentina.
Do you know, what I would say about, because people only bring this up, like, the only time I don't hear this World Cup, what they did in the World Cup debate, is when it's David Silva. No one brings up the fact he's the World Cup winner. But when it's everything else, it's, oh, well, what's he won in Europe? We get it with Messi. Ronaldo's clear because he's won this.
Was Henry killing it at the World Cup? Was Henry on the bench in 1998?
Wasn't he young?
Was he on the bench, wasn't he?
He was in it, bro.
No, he weren't. No, he wasn't a player that was being spoken about in 98.
Yeah, I swear he was.
He cheated to get to the World Cup, didn't he? Handball it and get to the World Cup.
Not that. He did do that. He did do that.
He's got Irish grandparents.
What about this? Let's end this argument simple. Looking at that combined 11 again. Looking at that combined 11, how many people from this combined 11 actually get into a Premier League combined 11? Because that's how you can tell who out of these guys are actual goals.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
You smart, girl.
My view is the goalkeeper goes. I'm not saying for who, I say one of the centre backs disappears.
Yeah.
The right back goes.
Yeah, right back's gone.
One of the midfielders goes. No, two of the midfielders
Yeah,
go.
that's a 2.
And then in terms of forwards, Henry stays. KDB goes because Cristiano Ronaldo is coming in. And Aguero over. It depends over who you're looking at.
Rooney, you have to have Rooney over. You have to have Rooney.
Or Shearer.
Kane, Rooney, Shearer.
Shearer, Cantonez.
It's mad.
Cantona. Yeah, I mean, some of them are. Henry does stay in, and I think that's fair. The biggest point I would make is this: Arsenal fans, you guys got to stay young, right? Because you ain't adding no players to these lists for any time soon. You've got to hold on to this. You've got to learn your history.
That's not what the topic is. You're deterring.
No, I'm not.
The main topic is the only goat next to Henry out of that whole group is Vieira. That was
Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole.
No.
Wait, no one's touching Ashley Cole.
Are you talking Man City and Arsenal only, or overall Premier League?
And Vieira can get touched.
Combined 11 right now. The Man City Arsenal combined 11. If you put it back on the screen, from that whole combined 11,
only by 3 people. He can get touched
only
by
3 people.
Yo, come on,
Chelsea, Arsenal. No. I see Terry sipping his wine. Listen, Terry, sip that wine well. Listen, I've got to go in 2 minutes, yeah. But I'm telling you for a fact, yeah. Makelele and Kante can talk to Vieira, but one day we'll have that.
To be fair,
All-time Chelsea and Arsenal. We'll talk about it, but one day we'll talk about it. No. This isn't about me. This is about Man City and Arsenal. Because if we go into this, without Adam and Test, they've got their fight.
In this stream, I've loved this show. It's been great. We're going to go around quickly. KJ, score predictions for Sunday, please.
Okay, so using my football brain, which I don't like to use half the time because where's the fun in that? My football brain says a 4-0 drum into Man City.
No respect at all.
Oh no! Listen, if they can do that to Liverpool, then man can do it to you, man, too, innit? Like, so that. But if I'm going by the judge, 1-1, 1-1 draw. The Arsenal judge kicking in, maybe 2-1 Arsenal.
A gal.
The back.
I'll go 2-2. We get lucky and we draw the game. No, I give you my logic.
I love that Steve was trying not to laugh at that. I'm only first time on. I'm going to be respectful. He's like, no. I'm going to go to Adam Charles next. What's the score going to be?
3-1 Man City, man. 3-1. I can't even lie. If Arteta is smart, he'll just say, first of all, let's stack off this game so that Manchester United can't win the league. And then he'll also say, let's focus on Europa League because we've got bigger fish to fry. He needs to. This game is a dead rubber. No need for him to put anything into it.
Oh, man, like Harry, you know.
Man, like Harry in the house, Harry Land. Love this guy. He's a great new addition to the terrace. Kesh, by the way, I just noticed, Kesh, you sorted the trim out, bruv.
Bruv, I had to do something, man.
You did, bruv. You gave me. I'm not gonna say it on there. Vibes. You gotta go. Neat. Give me your score prediction before you gotta go.
5-1 City.
You guys later. Speak to you soon. Kesh, gonna go back to you, bro. What are you saying?
As much as I'd like it to be 5-1 Arsenal, I'm going to go for Man City 2-0.
Wow. Stevie boy?
2-1 City. Just get it done, get the job done, get the points in the bank.
There we go. Yan's always so respectful in her score prediction. Every show.
I actually agree with Steve. I don't think it's going to be... I think it's going to be a bit of a tight game. Arsenal are picking up some form. It's interesting, actually, because... every time Pep's been on a run like this, it's been ended by Arsenal, which is really strange at Bayern Munich.
Oh, no, it's a sign. It's a sign, the judge.
But I'm hoping that City will get over the line. I think at the moment, we just look very good. I don't think this winning run will last forever, so I don't know when it will end. But yeah, I think hopefully we got too much for Arsenal.
What I'm going to say is, if Arsenal manage to beat City, we'll finish in top 6. I'm just putting it out there.
Jan, why did you have to say that? Now the Arsenal judge is definitely kicking in.
Good.
It's written in the stars now.
The football
It's written-
You know what?
Good
You know what
position.
it is? It's just, I just don't think it's going to be what we expect. Last time we went to Arsenal, it was 4-1 City, so I don't think it'll be 4-1 again.
Maybe 5.
But City just look, and what it is with City is we're not conceding as many goals. So whereas last season, Arsenal might have won like 2-1, City haven't been conceding too many goals. So I think they will score.
I love Jan so much.
He's gonna-
I love Jan so much. Like whenever I have Jan on, I'm like, Jan's great for knowledge and one of the best football opinions on social media. But in terms of throwing salt, like none of it, bruv. Like it's
Terry.
I'm hurting no slugs today. No slugs are getting hurt making this video.
No, Terry, you haven't seen her in her mood. When she's in the mood, she's coming to fight Fergie. She's coming to fight Fergie when she's in the mood, innit? So like, don't shake this little axe she's got. Oh, I'm so respectful. Nah, I'm not. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
When
People
people come from Man City, sometimes I'm like, nah, you have to shut them down.
Terry, she said Fergie come outside. She said Fergie come outside.
All right, sit down, Jan. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what mad thing is? You know what, like people come for City. The only thing you can go for City on is you didn't earn the money. Like City have just been so well run now for like 13 years. There's nothing to criticize them from a footballing point of view. There's almost nothing to criticize them about. It's annoying. I'm going with a 3-0 City win. I mean, no disrespect to Arsenal at all. City are just too good, too quick, too fast, play too good of football. It's the master versus the schoolboy. It's going to be. It's not going to be embarrassing. I actually think you'll go 3-0 up pretty early, 50-odd minutes on the clock, and then it'll be let's take the foot off the gas because Arteta used to work for us, so we'll give him a little bit of a little leeway. You're already champion. As far as I'm concerned, Liverpool should take off those golden lions on their arms, and they should send them through the City now. Champions elect. It's done. It's over. It's finished. Everybody that's tuned in, everyone that's put a super chat in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. That is the combined 11. You've got Aguero in the GOAT position, but he was obviously part of the forward line as well. That's our combined 11. We didn't really get any super chats in to change anything, which means you agree with it, which is great. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon.